controversial take coming. I'm a little more optimistic about Meta and Quest after the Vision Pro.
Yeah, expound.
The Vision Pro is from a video experience, pass-through experience, not making you sick experience. It is a 7 times better product. It happens to be 7 times more expensive as well. I don't think it does really feel like this is a, Apple deemed a minimum viable sort of product quality that the Quest does not meet in that sort of regard. And I think that was a good choice by Apple, particularly for Apple and sort of the things that they do. But from a fundamental, what I come away from this for what I want, and again, my desires are different than most people. I'm not a huge video movie person, as we've talked about. I'm the biggest nerd ever. I want to have a mind-blowing compute experience, right? That's what I want, right? And I come away from this feeling I'm more there's 2 angles. So for me personally, I feel like I'm more likely to get the experience I want with a high resolution Meta Quest than I am from a Vision Pro, because I don't see Apple making the software choices that I would want them to make to get there. And I actually feel like the
experience you want, again, just to clarify, is sort of a multi-screen workspace that's available in a headset. Is that right?
Just multi-app, multi-screen,
easy to navigate,
high precision control. I can move. Yeah, basically, I want to be able to carry a headset around. But my dream sort of experience, actually, if we want to fast forward to wherever we might get there, is number one, I would like to have a phone that obviously has all my stuff, and then I would like to have maybe my phone is the computer, or I just carry a puck that's the computer, or whatever it might be, and I put on a headset and I have this. I can recreate my desk sort of experience. I can have as many monitors as I want, as many views as I want, or not even monitors, many apps and windows, and I can have this fully immersive computing experience that is customized and detailed to exactly what I want, and I can have that anytime, anywhere, whatever. I would love to sit down at my desk. I have no monitors here. I have a clean desk. I have the camera in front of me for podcasting and a mic, and I don't need that because I just put on my headset and I have the experience that I want. That's what I want, and this is not necessarily the use case anyone should be building towards, because most people are not me. But just to put frame around this.
That's exactly. I just wanted specifics in terms of what you were dreaming of a decade into the future, or whatever it may be.
That would be sort of my dream. And for me, the limitation on the Quest now. To be fair, I have not used the Quest that much because the hardware is not remotely good enough, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's complaints I have about the Vision Pro that I don't have about the Quest, just because the Vision Pro hardware is good enough for me to have those complaints. And it's look, the screen quality is so high, I can read text so well, I don't get dizzy, I don't get a headache, whatever. Why can't I have a bigger field of view? Why can't I have a better sort of user interface for these sorts of things? And my concern is, because it's iOS, because it's Apple, they'll never truly unlock all the capabilities. I want a true computer. And they will say, we have Mac pass-through. And Mac pass-through is going to be a crutch for basically forever. It's if you want to do computer stuff, use the Mac pass-through. And I'm I don't want Mac pass-through. I want a Mac. That's what I actually want. And I just don't think Apple's going to give that to me. And no matter how good their hardware is, I feel like the software is going to be forever constrained from being what I want it to be. And that's just a reality that I have to accept.
So how do you square where you are today with where you were a week ago with this product? Is it just using it for a little while makes it obvious that vision is going to be untenable, at least in the short
No,
and
so this was
term?
my concern all along. I think I wrote it more in a follow-up to my Apple Vision article in June, which is look, all this cool stuff I'm excited about is fundamentally constrained by iOS and Apple's approach to computing, which is not the approach to computing that I want for myself, for my main computing device. And that's going to be a fundamental limitation. I think that's absolutely true. The disappointment I have is that I don't find the Mac pass-through very compelling relative to just using my computer. Again, leaving aside the privacy sort of angle. And I don't enjoy and I have a hard time seeing myself coming to enjoy mixing Vision Pro apps with the Mac, which would sort of be the answer, right? You have the Mac there, but then you have all these other apps sort of around you. And number one, there's a physical hardware constraint, which is the field of view is so narrow, it's not really doable. Like it's just not like it to have anything in volume. But number two, I just find the mix of interaction types very unpleasant in sort of actual practice.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. And honestly, when I think back to the demo that I had, it was very frustrating to have it be this standardized experience. Like Sunday night, I went to the NBA website and made sure I had my League Pass account connected to my Apple TV ID because I wanted to recreate that like 4 or 5 screen setup. And then I also had some pictures of baby Charles to throw on the Vision Pro. Instead, I talked to Dummin on the way down to the Apple store, and he's like, yeah, it's the same experience for everyone in America. So don't worry about it.
I mean, to be fair, from a logistical perspective, they are giving you 30 minutes.
That one is on me. It's on me. I will say it's a nice little metaphor for Apple and their inability to loosen the reins and relinquish like absolute control of this platform.
Well, it's actually, you're right. It is a good metaphor because you know what? The iOSification of the experience is better for most people. The reality is that computers, particularly computers 20 years ago, were way too free for most people. Most people ended up with 47 toolbars in Internet Explorer and their computer going to a crawl because they'd installed so much malware and sort of viruses sort of accidentally.
My computer would always get very loud. It would be like breathing heavily. You could hear.
No, that's right. Because it's working too hard. And most people would just go and just buy a new computer because their computer, like, they didn't even know how to fix it, right?
2 years, sure.
And I think this is something that us sort of like nerds and developers and stuff that get frustrated about Apple's control easily lose sight of, which is the iPhone and the iOS and that approach to computing is better for most people. People make this analogy to cars all the time, but I think it's 100% legitimate, which is, yes, you may like a car, you can go in and you can fix it, and it's naturally aspirated, and it's stick shift, and there's no traction control, and you can maximize, you can get the most out of it, and you can get high performance, and you can tune it, and you can fix it, and you do all these sorts of things. And the vast majority of people have no desire or inclination, nor should they need to do anything other than put it in drive, and the car takes care of everything else, right? And if you need to get it fixed, you go to a mechanic. And that's actually better for most people. I think the same thing applies to computers. Now, I think we need space for more innovation. And I think there's we've discussed ad nauseum, could Apple strike a better balance here? But it is important to keep in mind that for most people, that is better. And Apple delivers on that. And Apple's North Star is always number one, Apple, but number two, it is the sort of cliche. Can you hand an iPad to your parents and they can check their email and see pictures of baby Charles, right? Like that, and that's real value that Apple delivers in a very real way, and that comes with real trade-offs. And all of us who complain about Apple control should keep those trade-offs in mind. That we are asking for things now. I think there's a way to enable this so you can have both to a greater extent than you do now, but it's sort of dishonest to not acknowledge that there's very real benefits that do come from their approach.